Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to do kind of a wrap up of my Death Valley adventure, kind of talk about the trails and everything, just because it's such an amazing place and it's something that I have wanted to do for so long. And I also have some thank yous to also give out at the end, because while this was a solo trip, it certainly was not a solo effort. But anyway, so if you don't know, I recently did a 3-day solo trip to Death Valley National Park in Southern California. This was a place I have been wanting to go for years, and it was as incredible as I had hoped. It was the only thing I asked for my birthday. Is I wanted to go to Death Valley, and all I asked for from people wasn't even money. I just wanted support in getting there. And that became very important. But over the course of my Death Valley trip, I did a total of 7 hiking trails, and I did over 6,500 feet of climbing. I packed a lot into those 3 days because I wanted to see as much of the park as I possibly could, because you know, I live up in Washington. I really don't get down to that part of the country ever, really. This was my first time being south of Oregon, and so I just wanted to experience as much of the park as I possibly could. Death Valley National Park is an amazing park, and if you haven't been, I highly recommend you go. It is so diverse in the attractions and diverse in what you can do, and just the sheer scope of it. It's the largest national park outside of Alaska, and you really feel that scale when you are in the park. But I also think it's a really accessible park, just because there are a lot of amazing things you can do that don't involve challenging hikes. It seems like a very ADA accessible park as well. There are a lot of things where you can get out and see some amazing things just right in a parking lot. There's so many viewpoints, and there's also a ton of free backcountry camping, which was incredible, which is what I took advantage of. So I think it's just all around an amazing park and an amazing park experience just as a visitor. I visited in late April, and the reason I did that is because I wanted it to be warm enough that I wouldn't really have to worry about getting super cold at night. And I'm, cold in general. I get cold very easily, so I wanted it to be kind of warm, but I also didn't want to be hiking in 100 degrees. So I tried to hit that sweet spot of when it was going to be in like the 80s and 90s, and that is what I got. And so the way I experienced the park is I flew into Las Vegas. I drove 2.5 miles to Death Valley, and I slept in my rental car. So I did car camping, which I think was a really fun way to access the park. It was really easy to just get going in the morning to do hikes, and like I said, I took advantage of that free backcountry camping. So I think it was a really affordable way to see the park as well. All right, so now to get into what you're all here for is the hiking trails. I did a variety of hikes. I did some really easy hikes, and I did some very challenging hikes. And I will say none of them were bad. Like, I'm gonna tell you what my favorite was, but all of them were absolutely amazing, totally worth it. I would 100% do them again, and I definitely think they are worth going to see this park for. I do have favorites. So my overall favorite hike, it's a little unfair because it really doesn't compare, and that would be Telescope Peak. Telescope Peak was the hike that I did in Death Valley that was on my bucket list. Like, this was, a tier above a lot of the other trails for me, just because it was just like one of those things I'm like, I have to do it at some point in my life, and I really had the experience I wanted to. It's an incredible mountain, and the views from the top and even just from the trail are just unbelievable. It is so hard to have your mind comprehend that you're looking down over 11,000 feet to the valley floor. it's really, it was just a once in a lifetime, totally unique experience. And the trail itself is also beautiful. Like, it was so gently graded, and just getting to see the rock, and the views are amazing, like most of the trail as well into the valley. So there's really nothing wrong with that. Even though I had to do a little bit of extra mileage because the gate to the proper trailhead was closed, I really didn't care. It was still incredible. Another one that will probably be my second favorite, and probably the most fun, I guess, and that would be the Golden Canyon to Gower Gulch Loop. I think that if you're gonna do one trail in Death Valley, that is the trail to do. I think it shows off everything. You get amazing views, you get to see some of the crazy geology of the area, and it's super easy. The Zabriskie area in total is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think that that trail really shows it off, and it gives you a really intimate look at a lot of these forms that usually you just kind of see from these like viewpoints and vantage points. But I think that that loop overall, it was just so much fun. It was just so different, like each section of it completely different. And I have videos for all of the trails that I did in Death Valley, so if you want more specifics on any of the trails, if they interest you, you can check those out. And then another thing about Death Valley, and I would say that if you go 100%, you have to do something at sunset and sunrise. Sunset and sunrise in the park were incredible, absolutely beautiful. The only thing is you want to pay attention to like where you are in the valley and where the sun is going to rise and set. So if you're doing something for sunset, you want to make sure you're somewhere where you're going to get that, you know, light hitting from the west, and same goes for sunrise. I did sunset at Artist Palette and Badwater Basin for the 2 nights I was there, and then I did sunrise at Zabriskie Point, and sunrise at Zabriskie Point was just otherworldly, absolutely gorgeous. I really don't think you can go wrong with Death Valley. I only touched the surface of what is possible to do there. Like, I was just floored by the scale of the park, the incredible natural beauty, how different it is from my very lush green home up here in Washington, and the amount of history that is in the valley. Oh my gosh, I didn't even really touch on that. I could totally go back and just like hike to abandoned mines and ghost towns and stuff like that. It's just an incredible park, and I just want to encourage people to go out and explore it. Also, driving in the park, really, really fun. There's some really cool roads, and you just get incredible views just from the roads alone. All right, so now that I've talked about a little bit, you know, wrapping up Death Valley, I did want to give some thank yous because, like I said, this was a solo trip for me, and that is what I wanted. And this was for my birthday. But it certainly was not a solo effort getting me to and from Death Valley and making it so I could have a fantastic trip. The first person I want to thank is the person who really made this trip possible, and that would be my aunt. When my flight was canceled at the last minute and without warning to me, she was on the computer immediately and got me that last minute ticket just a couple hours later to Las Vegas so I could get to Las Vegas that same day. And I honestly don't know what I would have done had she not been able to do that, because there were just some crazy delays and stuff at the airport that went on beyond my control and everything, and I was, you know, thinking, oh my gosh, the trip is just gonna be canceled and stuff, because everyone was scrambling to get tickets to Las Vegas that day because of the flight cancellation. But she was amazing. She got me that ticket so that I could be in Las Vegas and pick up my car and then get to Death Valley the next morning. So, you know, thank you, and she really deserves a lot of credit for making this possible. And then thank you to my mom, who one of her birthday gifts to me was driving me to the airport, you know, early in the morning and getting me there because I needed a ride. And then a final thank you to my wonderful husband, Brian, who supports me in traveling and exploring solo and fully supported me on going on this trip, even though he was quite worried. And then also a thank you to the rest of my family who are also very supportive of my explorations and me pursuing this. So that was Death Valley. I am also going to be putting together a longer kind of documentary type video, just kind of telling the whole story instead of just like the trails as individual little videos. So you can look forward to that. It's going to take a little bit longer to edit, but that is coming, you know, in the next month or so. And if you haven't been to Death Valley, comment below what trail or site you are the most excited to go explore when you do go. And if you have been to Death Valley, please tell everyone in the comments what your favorite trail or site was when you went. I would love to hear, because I mean, I went to, like I said, 7 different locations. There are hundreds more. So yeah, leave all that in the comments below. Death Valley is amazing. I really encourage everyone to go and check it out. I think there's something for everyone there. And I love Washington. It is always going to be my home, but I am looking forward to exploring more amazing national parks and other places outside of the state as well. Thank you so much for watching, and here are some of my favorite pictures from Death Valley.